Time to move on to the next exercise. In this exercise, we're going to deal with images. How do we include images in our web pages, and how we can make use of the media object in our web page. As the first step, go to your exercise instructions and download image.zip file, and then save it to your Confusion folder, and then unzip the file to obtain a folder named img, and inside that you will find a few images that we're going to make use of in this exercise. All the images are in PNG format in that folder. We are now going to work to add some images to our web page. First, let's add in the logo for our restaurant. So going to the index.html page, in the Jumbotron, you see the second div here with the call and call SM. So we're going to fix that up by adding to this div an align self center to this div. Now, to this div, we're going to add in an image. So let me use the image with the source img. We have already put the image folder containing the images into our project. So from there, I will add the logo.png file as the image here. In addition, I'm going to add the class as image fluid, so that this image will automatically be responsive and adapt to the screen size. Let's save the changes. We're going to apply the same change to both aboutus.html page and also the contact-us.html page in the Jumbotron. Now, when you take a closer look at your web page, you will find that in the Jumbotron, right after this wordings, you will see the image for our restaurant inserted in there. Next, we'll go into the navbar, and then where we have this A for the navbar brand, I'm going to replace these words for the restaurant with the corresponding logo. So this words, I'm going to replace that with img, and source is logo.png. In addition, I'm going to specify a height attribute of 30 and a width attribute of 41 to this logo. This size is apt for the navbar brand there. So let's save the changes. I'm going to go and make the same change in the aboutus.html page and also the contact-us.html page. Taking a look at the web page now, you see that the restaurant's name has now been replaced with the restaurant's logo in small size there. You now see that when you navigate to the About page, you would see the image being included there, and similarly on the Contact page, you will see that the image has been updated. Going back to the main page, now what we're going to do is to use a media object in place of these descriptions that we have here, and then use the media object to replace these with the description and also an image to be included there. So that gives a better view of our web page. So let's go ahead and make that change. To make use of the media object in our index.html page, we will go to the first row of content here, and then right there in the second div, I'm going to introduce a new div with the class media and enclose the content inside this div there. Closing off the div. Now inside this div, I'm going to introduce an image to be used there. So here I go in and say image class, and in order to use an image in a media object, we need to apply some additional flex related classes here. So I apply the dflex and then mr3. So m meaning margin right with number 3, so that gives sufficient margin to the right of this image so that the description is slightly set apart from the image in the web page. And then I would use image thumbnail for this image, and then also use align self center for the image, and then type in the source of the image, which is img, and you can look up the image name in the img folder, and then let me give it an alternative there and close off the image. So this will now include the image into my media object. In addition, I'm going to create the media body for this image by saying div class media body, and then enclose this h2 and p that contains the description inside this inner div there. So let me indent the content there and then close off that div here. So with that, my description is enclosed inside the media body. In addition to this h2, I'm going to introduce a class as mt0. So with this class says margin top 0. So this title will be aligned to the top of this particular media object here. With this changes, let's save the changes and then go and take a quick look at our web page. Going to our web page, you will immediately notice the change in the web page. So you can now see that there is an image positioned here, and then the description that was earlier in that location has been properly positioned here. Contrast this with the remaining 2 rows, and you now begin to see how the media object helps us to transform that into something more vibrant. I'm going to do the same thing to the 3rd row here. The 2nd row will be left as an exercise for you in the assignment. Going to the 3rd row, I'm going to apply a similar change to this 3rd row to introduce the media object here. So let me introduce the media object there, and then to this div, go into the media object and then introduce the image that I'm going to use here. So I use the class as dflex mr3. If you are positioning the image to the right side, then you need to give a margin as ml3 for that. In addition, I'm going to add in the image thumbnail class to this, and then also say align self center. So these are the classes that I'm going to add to this image, and then let's specify the source of this image, img and alberto.png, and then I will specify the alternative as so. And after this h2 and h4 and the p, I'm going to enclose them inside a media body div here. Closing off the media body div. So we now have completed the media object in the third row. So let's save the changes and then go and take a look at our web page next. Now, taking a look at our web page, you notice that we have the dish description there. Now, if you move to the third row, you now see how the third row has also been redefined. Note the use of the media left, meaning that the image is positioned to the left side in this media object, and then media middle, which positions the image in the middle of this description. You can also use media top and media bottom to align the image to the top and the bottom of this description. With this, we complete this exercise. In this exercise, we looked at the use of images and media object in our web page. This is a good time again to do a git commit with the message images and media.